Hello students, and welcome to day 5 of our tour in Bangkok. This specific day we were picked up at our hotel and we actually went to the Summer Palace of the King of Thailand. The Summer Palace is actually a sprawling area that includes not just the Summer Palace but also temples and a variety of shrines. It also has its own lake that feeds into the area where all the different buildings are connected to. A view of the Summer Palace, although the King of Thailand was not there at the time. This is where a lot of the governance happens while the king is actually here at the Summer Palace. A nearby shrine and a beautiful temple that was on the side. Important thing to note, there was no photography that was allowed inside of the temple, so all the pictures had to be taken from the outside. Again, beautiful stone gazebos. Plants were everywhere of all different types of varieties, and a lovely solarium just waiting for people to go and explore. The architecture in this specific location was also very impressive, with lots of color and very well maintained. Following this, we took a ride outside of the city of Bangkok for about 30 to 45 minutes to a series of ruins that were discovered, and there's been a small city that's popped up around the outside of. Seeing these ruins gives you perspective on just how old Bangkok really is. These ruins have stood the test of time. The ruins themselves were devoid of a lot of statuary because of an invasion that happened when Cambodia came over several hundred years ago and decapitated most of the statues. So you'll see a lot of statues that are still there without heads. Again, most of these ruins have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. The interesting thing about these ruins is you could get really, really close to them, to the point of touching them. You just couldn't go up onto the ruins themselves. The ruins were surprisingly well preserved to the point where you could actually go around the locations and really take in the history and the life of what was at one point an amazing temple structure. Those statues that did remain give you a little bit of a perspective based on their wear and tear, how old these statues are. The local people around the structure still do maintain the integrity and the beauty of the ruins, just to make sure they're kept in very preserved condition. Later that day, we decided to go back over to the river in Bangkok in order to try and get a better idea of what the temples looked like during the daytime as opposed to the night. The contrast of both ancient and modern facilities in Bangkok is very apparent when you take a look at the locations and how close they are within proximity to each other. The city does a great job of maintaining the wellness of a lot of the temples and buildings that are located on the side of the river. You can even buy a home right on the side of the Bangkok River if you want for what would seem to be pennies on the dollar. Here's again that view of that suspension bridge as we came into the harbor. And as the temples dot the harborway, you get a chance to see what they really look like in the daytime as the sun reflects off the gilding all along the rooftops and the statues. Each temple is unique and has its own shape and size. Some are very well appointed, while others are a little bit more subdued. Some are more colorful, while others are a little bit more modest. And like I said, the architecture, while ancient, is constantly maintained because it's so close to the proximity of the ocean. You can see just from the scaffolding here the sheer monumental size of this kind of renovation. The modern buildings were also really fantastic and very whimsical in some cases, like the one you see here in this picture. Again, older architecture right next to newer architecture. And yes, even hotels dot the landscape as well. Just to give you some perspective as to how large these hotel structures are, you get a chance to see something like this 5 to 7 story temple right next to a high-rise. And again, to preserve the flavor of the region, here's an example of an office building with what appears to be some kind of a templeized structure on top of it. And another building with a beautiful view of the area. It looks like it has some kind of an observation deck on top of it. I really do hope you enjoyed our time here in Bangkok. Again, if you would like more information on any of the tours we took or any of the locations that we visited, you can reach me through YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram at The Professor Travel. And again, I thank you so much for your time. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm always here to answer any questions should you have any. Until the next time, take great care.